Hey, what's going on, APUSH peeps? I got another good one for you today. This is on the first party system. A great potential short answer question or essay topic. Guess what? If you're one of my students listening to this, you're doing an essay on it. Surprise! Okay, let's get going. So, the new curriculum states this about the first party system. Flip to KeyCats of 3.2, Roman numeral 3, letter B. And it says political leaders in the 1790s took a variety of positions on issues such as the relationship between the national government and the states, economic policy, foreign policy, and the balance between liberty and order. This led to the formation of political parties, most significantly the Federalists, led by Alexander Hamilton, and the Democratic Republican Party, led by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. So it's going to be Hamilton versus these two dudes. They do not get along well with each other. Actually, Jefferson and Madison do, but they do not get along well with Hamilton. All right, so why did they develop? Well, there's four main reasons. Number one, over the power of the federal government. How strong should it be? Two, foreign policy. And this really all stems from the French Revolution, illustrated here with the storming of the Bastille on July 14th, 1789. Economic policy stemming from Hamilton's financial plan, and finally the balance between liberty and order. And this stems from the Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798 under President John Adams' administration. So let's discuss the power of the federal government. So Federalists favored a stronger national or federal or central, those are interchangeable words, government. And here is Alexander Hamilton, played by Lin-Manuel Miranda at the Treasury Department in Washington, D.C. I'm going to be referencing Hamilton, the musical, a lot in this video. Democratic Republicans favored a smaller federal government, so they were more weary of the central government being too powerful. Madison and this dude, Jefferson, argued that states should be able to nullify federal laws. And we see this with the Virginia and the Kentucky resolutions, which we'll talk more about in a few moments. So the Democratic Republicans believe that state governments should have a lot of power, that they should even be able to go so far as to nullify federal laws. And here is David Diggs, who plays Thomas Jefferson in the musical. All right, foreign policy. Democratic Republicans tended to support France, and there's a couple reasons why. Number one, France provided aid during the Revolutionary War. Come on, what's that battle? After what battle? It's illustrated here. Yeah, you know, you little genius. It is the Battle of Saratoga. Great job. Also, the Declaration of Independence inspired the French Revolution. And guess who gets credit for writing the Declaration of Independence? You know it, Thomas Jefferson. So he is so honored that his ideas help inspire revolutions throughout the world. Federalists wanted to have a beneficial relationship with England. They saw England as a major trading partner. And this is exhibited through Jay's Treaty, which was negotiated by Chief Justice John Jay, the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And this made Britain a favorable trading partner, gave them preferential treatment when it comes to trade. And this really upset the French. And when France and England went to war in the 1790s, Democratic Republicans wanted to support France, and the Federalists wanted to remain neutral. And Washington is going to side with the Federalists and remain neutral when he issues his neutrality proclamation. I got a video on that if you need more info on it. Okay, economic policy. This is really the first major difference between Jefferson and Hamilton. Hamilton's financial plan pitted Hamilton against Jefferson and Madison. And the Bank of the U.S., or the bus as I call it, was the most controversial aspect. This really made Jefferson and his followers upset. Jefferson and his followers took a strict interpretation versus a loose interpretation by the Federalists when it comes to reading the Constitution. And Hamilton said, listen, the Constitution doesn't say we cannot have a bank, therefore we can. That's a loose interpretation. Whereas the Democratic Republicans said, no, I don't think so, buddy. The Constitution doesn't say you can, therefore you can't. And ultimately, Washington, played here by Christopher Jackson, supports the bus and sides with the Federalists. So Washington is often going to side with Hamilton when there are debates between Hamilton and Jefferson in his first administration. Let's jump on over to balance between liberty and order. The Alien and Sedition Act, 1798, under President John Adams. These are passed to silence his Democratic Republican opponents. Now, this is very interesting. The runner-up in the presidential election back then became the vice president. So we have Thomas Jefferson as John Adams' vice president, even though he is a member of a different political party. So lots of tension between the two. So the Alien Sedition Acts are passed, and they are meant to punish Democratic Republicans. And punishments for criticizing the government included fines and or jail time. So if you were a newspaper editor and critical of John Adams, you could be thrown in jail for it. And Jefferson, again, who was Adams' VP, and Madison, they respond with the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions. And Jefferson's basically like, dude, you're not going to silence me. I have an idea. And this idea is that states should be able to nullify the Alien and Sedition Acts. So they are trying to overturn or void these federal laws. All right, so if you want more info on on these topics, I encourage you to check out the Hamilton soundtrack if you have not already. Definitely check out Cabinet Battle number 1, that deals with the bank and the financial plan. Cabinet Battle number 2 deals with conflict between France and England. And also, One Last Time, which is sung by Christopher Jackson, that deals with Washington's farewell address. Check out those 3 songs. Your life will change for the better, I promise it. And every other song as well, because they are simply amazing. It is a wonderful soundtrack. All right, short answer question. Briefly explain how one of the following was most significant in the formation of political parties in the late 18th century. The relationship between the national government and the states, economic policy, and foreign policy. Part B, provide one piece of historical evidence that supports your choice in Part A. So provide a specific piece of evidence to support your claim in Part A. And finally, Part C, briefly explain why one of the other options is not as significant in the formation of political parties in the late 18th century. My guys, we're going to do this in class. And here is your essay topic if you are interested. And again, my students, you're going to have to write it. Explain the reasons for the formation of political parties in the late 18th century. And this deals with the historical thinking skill of causation. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Best of luck on all your exams, especially the one in May. Make sure you check out the Hamilton soundtrack, and have a good day.